What's up, YouTube? Now, as you know, today is the first day of August. And I thought it'd be really cool to look over all of the movies that are coming out this month and give you a grade out of 10 of my anticipation for it. And now, let the video begin. Now, the first movie I'm going to be talking about is Total Recall. Now, Total Recall is a remake of the same title, which the original starred Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this one stars Colin Farrell. Now, I was really surprised that this movie was going to be remade. Well, Hollywood is running out of ideas, and they have been remaking movies that don't need to be remade, and also they're making sequels of movies that don't need to have a sequel, so I'm not extremely surprised. But this movie looks visually stunning, and it seems that it can have some pretty cool action in it. Also, Colin Farrell's in it, which is a definite big plus. But also, I have a feeling this movie's just gonna have some pretty dull action for some reason. I just feel like it's gonna have some typical action film cliches. And the dialogue seems a little bit ridiculous. Kate Beckinsale and Jessica Biel, they're pretty hot, but not really good actresses. But overall, I'm still pretty looking forward to seeing this movie. It seems kind of entertaining, and Colin Farrell, I bet, is going to be awesome. Overall, I'm going to give my anticipation a 7 out of 10. Next movie I'm going to talk about is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Dog Days. Now, surprisingly, I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. I liked the first two movies. I thought they were really good, and I love the books. But the movies are just not like the books at all. But I think the movies don't have the same feel as the books do. In the book, you can relate a lot more to the main character, which in the movie, you kind of really don't as much. And I know it's got some typical kid film cliches, like they did in the first two. And it seems like they're making it a lot more childish. Overall, I'm giving my anticipation a 6 out of 10. Next is Hope Springs, which a lot of people don't really know this movie. But I am really looking forward to this movie, surprisingly. It has a great cast. Meryl Streep, Tommy Lee Jones, and Steve Carell. It seems like a really good dramedy. I think it's going to be a heartwarming film. And I cannot wait to see Steve Carell playing a role as a therapist. Overall, I'm giving my anticipation an 8 out of 10. Next film I'm talking about is The Bourne Legacy. Now, this is by far my most anticipated film this month. Jeremy Renner, I think, is an amazing actor, and he's been definitely improving for the past few years. And it looks like it's going to have some pretty badass action. I am a little bit disappointed that Paul Greengrass isn't directing this movie, but still, I think this movie looks freaking amazing. So overall, I'm giving my grade a 10 out of 10. I'm really looking forward to this movie, especially since I love all three of the Bourne movies. Next up is The Campaign. I'm really looking forward to seeing this film. I think it's going to be really cool to see a little Will Ferrell versus Zach Galifianakis action, and it seems really, really funny. A lot of people have been saying that the trailer isn't that funny, though. Well, with Jay Roach films, the trailers aren't that funny, but the movies are really funny. For example, Dinner for Schmucks, which came out a couple of years ago. And I love Jay Roach films. I love Meet the Parents, but I didn't really like Meet the Fockers, and I love Dinner for Schmucks. I know it's later. I changed my grading later on. My anticipation grade for The Campaign is an 8.5 out of 10. Next up is The Odd Life of Timothy Green. Now, I am not really looking forward to this movie at all. The trailer was just very ridiculous, and it just seems very, very stupid. It looks like this movie's going to have a couple good heartwarming scenes, but it just seems very bland and very dull that you've seen in a lot of Disney films these days. Overall, I'm giving my anticipation grade a 4 out of 10. Not really looking forward to seeing this film. Next up is The Expendables 2. Now, I am pumped to see this movie. It looks like it has a lot more better action than the first one, and it's got Chuck Norris. I mean, come on. Fucking Chuck Norris! But really, you had to put Liam Hemsworth in this movie? Why? Still, I'm really looking forward to seeing this film. I'm giving my anticipation grade an 8 out of 10. Next up is Paranorman. Now, this just looks like a decent animated film. Doesn't look extremely good, but it seems like a movie that you could just watch and just like, that movie was okay. Overall, I'm giving my anticipation grade a 5 out of 10. Next up is Hit and Run. Now, I think this movie is going to be really, really funny. It's directed by Dax Shepard. Well, he's a co-director, and this is his first time directing a movie. And I think I'm really looking forward to seeing him direct, because I think he's a really funny actor, and I love him in Parenthood. If you haven't not watched that TV show, you should. And Bradley Cooper also looks really funny in this movie, and looks funny. I mean, those stupid dreadlocks. What the f... But overall, I think this movie is going to be really funny, and it's going to seem like it has some pretty good action. Overall, I'm giving my anticipation grade a 7.5 out of 10. Next up is Premium Rush. Now, this movie just looks really ridiculous. It looks like it can be some good popcorn entertainment, and also Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it, and that's a big plus. And also, I know he doesn't really choose ridiculous films, so maybe there's some good stuff in it, but overall, I'm a little bit low with this movie. Overall, I'm giving my anticipation grade a 6.5 out of 10. For Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I'm just waiting till Looper comes out, because that looks really good. Next up is Lawless, which I think looks really good, except for the fact that Shia LaBeouf's in it. But it also has Guy Pearce, and I love Guy Pearce. It also has many other great cast members. Overall, I think this movie is going to be a pretty good time. Shia LaBeouf definitely made me lower this movie a little bit, but I still think it's going to be pretty good. Overall, my anticipation grade is a 7 out of 10. And the last movie I'm going to be talking about is The Possession. Now, this is an exorcism movie, which I've been hating lately, because the last exorcism was fucking horrible, and The Devil Inside really wasn't as much better. But this looks better than the other exorcism films that have been coming out. It doesn't look extremely good. I think this movie is going to be either awful or just pretty good. So overall, I'm giving my anticipation grade a 5 out of 10. That is my recap of all the films that are coming out this August. I hope you enjoyed this video, and tell me what your most anticipated film this month is in the comments below. And I'm Lucas Stringer. I'll see you guys later.